So is your PC acting strangely, slow performance, crashing apps, or maybe it's doing things on its own? This could be signs that your PC has been hacked. But don't worry, you're not alone. There's a way to confirm your suspicions. Today in this video, I'm going to show you 5 steps that's going to show you if your Windows PC has fallen victim to hackers. We'll dive into the hidden corners of your computer, from Task Manager to Windows Event Viewer, and even the nooks and crannies of your network activity. Whether you're a tech wizard or just starting out, these steps will empower you with the skills to uncover the truth about your PC's security, just like a cybersecurity professional would do. Stay with me as we ensure your digital safety one click at a time. Let's get started and take control back of your computer. Hello, my name's AJ, and on this channel, I talk all things cybersecurity for beginners. Now, if you are experiencing odd behavior from your PC, it could be due to a hacker's handiwork. This might not always be the case, but these 5 steps will let you figure that out. Because by the end of this video, you'll have the knowledge and the skills to be able to spot and stop these cyber intruders. So let's dive in. But before we dive in, I just want to cover off a few things first. So first of all, if you spot any of these indicators on your device, it doesn't mean straight away that you have been hacked. You have to do the analysis like I'll show you to be able to confirm that, just like a cybersecurity professional would do. Don't go jump into conclusions and think you're hacked straight away. And finally, each one of these 5 steps is going to be attempting to uncover an indicator of compromise. And an indicator of compromise in cybersecurity is a piece of digital evidence that indicates that a system or a network has been breached. And the idea then, as an up-and-coming cybersecurity professional like yourself, what you would be doing and what I do on a daily basis is use these indicators of compromise to search across activity across the company's network to detect and attempt to detect if they've been breached or hacked. Now that you understand what an indicator of compromise is, or an IOC, let's dive into the first step of detecting if your PC has been hacked. So first up then, we're going to be looking at the Task Manager. So this is the heartbeat monitor for your PC. Hackers often leave traces here through unknown processes which are consuming a lot of the resources on your PC. So I'll show you how to spot these digital footprints, focusing on CPU and memory usage that doesn't often add up. So accessing the Task Manager, relatively simple. You want to come down, whichever version of Windows you're using, type in Task Manager, then it'll pop up like this. And then as you come in here, then this is going to show you all of the processes that are currently running on your PC. And the idea here then is to go through these processes and try to understand what each one of these processes is, because any unfamiliar processes in here that you're unsure about could potentially be malware or an unwanted program that you didn't install. Of course, this isn't always the case. That's why it's important to do your analysis on each one of these processes. And one quick way, an indicator of compromise, is to be able to look at the actual CPU usage of each one of these. So you can sort them by CPU usage, and you can see which ones are taking up the most amount of memory, which ones are taking up the most amount of CPU, because this can often be an indicator of malware. So you simply click here, search by the CPU usage, and have a look through to see if you understand what each of these processes are. Research often in cybersecurity is just using the search engine, and that's a quick place to start for beginners. So we can see this process here, anti-malware service executable. So I'm trying to figure out what that actually is. So we'll be in Google and we go into anti-malware service executable. And we can see here then it says that the anti-malware service executable is actually a critical process within Windows Defender and is responsible for scanning and protecting your system from malicious software. So this is starting to indicate that this is actually a legitimate process. So this is the idea here then. So often more complex malware could hide itself potentially from the Task Manager, or even it won't use up a lot of CPU like I've indicated. But for simple malware and for beginners, this is a great place to start out when you're doing analysis of a Windows machine and your own PC. And then when you do find a process that is potentially malware, you can come in here and you can actually right click and you can end the task. And one thing to be able to look out for then, if these processes keep on reappearing after being terminated, this could again be an indication that that is definitely malware. And like you can see, I'm saying potentially because you don't always know. That's why it's important to do your analysis, and why a cybersecurity professional will do their analysis on each one of these processes before they terminate or before they kill any of the processes. So next up then, we're going to be looking for unknown programs in your control panel. So the control panel then houses a list of installed programs on your PC, and we're going to be looking for unknown programs in here. Much like finding a stranger in your home, discovering software you didn't install is one glaring red flag or indicator of compromise to look out for. And to do that then, what you want to be doing is going into your control panel, and then once you're in your control panel, you go to programs, then programs and features, And as you can see here then, this is a list of the installed programs on this PC. So the idea again, similar to the processes that we showed you in step 1, what we're doing is just trying to understand what each one of these programs is, figure out if you did actually install it, and then if you didn't, look to remove it and try and figure out what it actually was. But again, don't remove anything until you're sure that it was malicious. And it's always important to do regular checkups of these installed programs to make sure that any unknown programs or unauthorized programs haven't been installed. Maybe there'll be some here with suspicious names or names that you don't recognize. You want to be paying close attention to programs that were installed without your knowledge. Again, if you're doing this on a work PC, be very, very careful because there could be programs on here that were installed by an administrator. So be careful if that is you. So like I said, pay close attention to the names because some malware can try and mimic and attempt to look like legitimate programs. Maybe look at the install date, try and look at the versions, maybe even the size, like the install date. If you didn't install it on that day, could be suspicious, or if the version doesn't quite make sense, or maybe it's a really large size or suspiciously small size. Because by regularly monitoring your control panel and staying vigilant about the installed programs, you will be able to better protect your system from potential threats and maintain a clear and secure digital environment. So next up, we're going to be looking at potential startup programs hiding in your task manager. So this indicator of compromise is great because malware loves to embed itself in your startup programs to make sure that it wakes up every time your PC does. So what we want to do is try and weed out those unwelcome guests. So we're going to be returning to the task manager. So we go back to task manager here. Then what you want to do once you're in task manager, then you want to click this icon here and you want to go to startup apps. And then you'll see then that all of these then are set to start up as soon as your PC starts. So again, you want to be reviewing these, understanding what they are, understanding if they're malicious, understanding if you know you installed them, did you enable them at startup? All of these things you want to be answering to figure out if this could be a malicious app that is trying to start up every time your PC does. You're going to be looking for ones with suspicious names and doing your analysis on each one of these apps and processes just to figure out what it actually is doing. It's always extremely important to periodically review your startup apps to understand if there is any malware or any suspicious programs trying to start up as soon as your PC does. So the fourth step then is looking at network activity that is taking place on your PC. So we're putting your network activity under the microscope here. So looking for unusual data flows, which can often indicate if your PC could be part of a botnet or maybe involved in other nefarious activities without your knowledge, or there may be malware on your host that is trying to connect back to the attacker's infrastructure. So to do this on a Windows PC, we can go into Resource Monitor and we can flip over to the Network tab. So in this Network tab then, what we can see here are the actual processes with network activity itself, TCP connections, and listening ports. For the basis of this video though, we're going to be focusing on processes with network activity and network activity. So first up then, processes with network activity. So you'll be thinking and you'll be hearing that this follows a similar theme. You just want to try and understand what these processes actually are. Do your analysis, understand what that process is, do your research in Google and get a good indication of why that process would need actual network activity. You'll be looking for processes with potentially high network usage or just unfamiliar process names, as this could potentially be indicative of malware communicating with external servers. So then coming into the network activity section, you'll be able to see the processes and you'll actually be able to see the IP address that it's connecting to. So one we can see here then is msedge.exe. So we can head over to Google and we can figure out what msedge actually is. So this denotes the executable file to use to run and execute the process of the Microsoft Edge browser. So we're looking at this and thinking, okay, Microsoft Edge is a legitimate process, so maybe this looks okay, but we can do some further investigation. So as we can see here, this process, or msedge.exe, looks to be connecting to a lot of external IP addresses. So let's take this one for example, 20.199.58.43. We can come into a tool like Abuse IPDB, which is an IP database reputation check, and we do the search on that IP address, and it's coming up as a Microsoft Corporation IP, and there doesn't look to be any abuse report. So it looks like a Microsoft Edge IP. Microsoft process communicating with the Microsoft IP, so this doesn't look as suspicious as maybe we initially thought. So this is just the tip of the iceberg of what you can do with network monitoring. If you are interested in network monitoring and you want me to do a video on that, then comment down below and I'll see if I can get that done for you. But it's extremely important to monitor network activity so you can identify and mitigate potential threats and be able to detect if your PC is being used for malicious purposes without your knowledge. So step 2 then is looking at suspicious logs in the Windows Event Viewer. And to be able to access Event Viewer, what you can do is go into the Start Programs and then go to Event Viewer. So this might look complicated, but don't worry, you're a beginner. I can understand this might be a little bit overwhelming, but that's okay. You're getting that experience and you're starting to learn. But what we're doing here is delving into Event Viewer, which has a treasure trove of logs, and it logs all the activities that take place on your PC. And it's much like reading a diary written by your PC, document every significant event. And what a cybersecurity professional would do, they'd be on the lookout for entries and log entries in Event Viewer that could signal unauthorized access or unexpected errors, and those entries and those specific signals would be the indicators of compromise that we talked about at the start of the video. So once you're in Windows Event Viewer, there is a lot to look in here, but the focus of today's video is going to be looking at the Windows logs and then going into the security log. But of course, there's so many logs in here that it can be difficult for a cybersecurity professional to be able to review these manually. That's why you wouldn't normally be doing this manually as a cybersecurity professional. You would have a tool to help you do this. But it's good experience to be able to see and review the Event Viewer manually, just so you know and you understand where all the Windows event logs actually come from. But how do you differentiate the logs from just normal generic PC errors from potential security breaches? Well, there's many security researchers out there that have done analysis on potential breaches or actual breaches from Windows PCs, and they've come up with certain event IDs that are important to look out for. Remember, this is not an exhausted list. This is just a beginner's guide, but here's a few event IDs. And all each one of these event IDs is doing is actually uniquely identifying a specific event or a specific log on a Windows PC. So one that you could look out for then is this one here. So event ID 4624. And if we have a look into that, what we can see here then that means that an account was successfully logged on. So you're probably thinking, well, that doesn't really mean that my PC's been compromised. Well, the idea here then is to have a look at this logon. Was it you? Was it logged on at a specific time that wasn't you? This is what the mindset you want to get into, rather than just thinking, no, this was definitely me. You want to come in here, review this log and understand if this was a company that actually logged on. And it's important to do your analysis then to figure out what actually happened. And then one more event ID we'll look at is 4672. So you can see here then that is special privileges assigned to log on. So this indicates that an account has logged on with administrative privileges. So again, this is where you'll be coming in and trying to understand what that account was that actually signed in, and try to understand why an administrative account was you to sign in to that specific PC. Maybe if you're just a general user, it probably was you that just signed in. But again, you're getting into the mentality of being a cybersecurity professional here. You want to be analyzing each event and understanding what could be going on. But again, there's so many events in here, so many event IDs. This is why this is usually done with an automated tool as a cybersecurity professional. But this is just a beginner guide just to get you into that mindset. And there you have it, cyber recruits. There was 5 steps to detect if your PC could be compromised using those 5 indicators of compromise. And always remember that knowledge is power, and staying informed is what's going to keep you protected in this digital age. And I hope this guide empowers you to take initiative to protect your digital safety, and also piques your interest of getting into cybersecurity, because we need more great professionals like yourself. So my name is AJ. Thank you for watching this video. If you did like this video, then likely you'll like this video as well here, which shows you if your MacBook has been hacked. So I'll see you in that video.